So, let me start by transporting you into the Sinai Desert. It's breathtaking, literally. My husband and I decided to run a 100-kilometer race in the Sinai Desert, and we had no clue what we were doing. As you can see, sand in my shoes, I had blisters the size of my toes. It was scary. 80 kilometers done, 20 kilometers to go. Every signal says stop. Endurance athletes know what this is. It's called the wall. Your legs are burning, your mind is screaming stop, and the only thing you can think about is the burger and your couch. But what endurance athletes also know, that the wall is not the end. It's actually a portal. And if you push through that portal, you discover a new version of yourself. It's quite amazing. So today, I'm here to teach you about the wall, to help you discover your wall and hit it. And it might sound extreme, but there's something very unexpected. Actually, by hitting so many walls, I finally discovered what balance is. So let's start by the big question. What is work-life balance? Because honestly, I failed at it every time. I never understood it. It was a mystery. And let's break it down. We talk about work and life. Is that a 50-50 split? So I'm either working or living. And then life. What constitutes life? Is it kids, family, education, sports? How am I going to squeeze all of this in the 50%? And then I have another big issue with balance. Is it a balance of intensity, a balance of time, a balance of energy? Am I balancing my day, my year, my life, my entire lifetime? So let's look at the day. This is a snapshot of a day while I'm training for an Ironman. I'm on my bike for 5 hours, I hop off, and I'm running for 2. Extreme? Maybe. And I added the cute picture of my kids joining me, although actually they don't really. So, 20 hours a week training, crazy. 40 hours a week working, normal. So I started to question, is balance really the opposite of extreme? And let me explain that to you further later. So for those who don't know what an Ironman is a triathlon where you swim 3.9 kilometers, then you bike a ride for 180 kilometers, and then you run for 42 kilometers, all in one day. I somehow ended up doing 5 of those. So I'm Dina Ali, I'm an extremist, and yet I arrived at balance. And the unlikely teacher was actually an Ironman training plan. Let's go back to Singapore 2019. I was at INSEAD with a group of entrepreneurs. And a coach asked us a very simple thing. Draw who you are. So I take a pen and I start sketching. A box for work, a box for family, a box for learning, for sports, for friends. I'm not organized, by the way, but this looks very organized. So I step back and I'm so proud of myself. Wow, clarity. And then I look around and everyone has just one sketch, one connected life. And I start looking at my boxes. Why do I have boxes? And why are they separate? And I think there must be something wrong with me. And then I realized, actually, my boxes are not one life. They're competing. Each one is competing for my energy, for my time, for my attention. No wonder I have problems with balance. And this question follows me. And somehow, on the track, I finally get my answer. I get my answer from my training plan. So let me tell you a bit more about my boxes. I was always an intense person. So if I get a D, I'm challenged, I'm excited. I'm gonna get that A. But I get a C, C feels bland. C feels boring. And I took that intensity into my life. So my first job, of course, I became a workaholic, and I loved it. I happily swapped my weekends for late night edits and my vacations for shoots. And then, 2007, Leila was born, my first daughter. And I walked away. I just wanted to become a full-time mom. Everybody thought it was an extreme decision, but I wanted to do it all. I wanted to be a mom. 2009, Nijma was born, and my life was all about diaper bags, nursing bibs. I was all in, and I could have never imagined being a working mom. But then, 2012, I started or co-founded my first branding agency. I fell in love with entrepreneurship, and I fell in love with building brands. And I actually co-founded 2 more companies. Intense, yes, it's obviously a pattern. And I was still struggling with balance. Then hit 2016. I lost my best friend. Sorry. I lost my best friend, Sylvia, to cancer. And she died in my arms. Okay, so obviously, grief hit me. I couldn't deal with it with my family or with my friends or at work. So I started running. And that was where I healed. It wasn't a perfect plan. It was just a way to kind of process it. Obviously, I didn't practice it this way. So, a new box was created, my mental and my physical well-being, and it became a non-negotiable. So, we go back to that room in Singapore in 2019. We were 5 entrepreneurs, all successful, and we all had tears in our eyes because we were all burned out. And I discovered that the problem was that we had collapsed all our life into work. Like a muscle trained without recovery, we were heading towards injury. So, I wasn't gonna collapse my life into one box. I knew I was capable to do more. So, like any rational, overworked entrepreneur and mother, I signed up for more races. That was my solution. But I realized something. The problem wasn't the boxes. The problem was what I believed about those boxes. I thought balance meant giving every box equal attention all the time. And life doesn't work that way. Sometimes you need to be intense for your kids. Sometimes you need to be intense for your career. And sometimes you just need to take care of yourself. And actually, this is what I learned from triathlon. It taught me that my boxes are not competing. It taught me that my boxes are training blocks. I have to swim and I have to run. I can't give up one for the other. Each one is training different muscle groups. Each one is developing a different capacity. And it is okay. I don't have to feel guilty about it. I don't have to be afraid of my intensity. So I realized I wasn't learning about how to race. I was learning how to balance my life. And maybe balance isn't the opposite of extreme. Maybe it's knowing what deserves your intensity. So I learned about life. There's build-up, there's peak, there's recovery, and there's race day. Not every season is about the same thing. And it's okay. You don't need to distribute your attention and your energy on all equally. It's okay to sometimes be in build-up phase, sometimes in recovery phase. And I still had all my boxes, and maybe even more. But I knew that not every box needs to peak at the same time. And I understood that I don't have to feel guilty that I'm currently giving more attention to work or my education. It's fine. Because one snapshot can look like complete unbalance. It can be look like, okay, she's an extremist. She doesn't know her priorities. But zoom into recovery week, and it looks like I'm lazy. Zoom into peak week, and it looks like I'm crazy. But zoom out, and it's strategy. So it's not important, are you balanced today? But it's more important, what is your training plan? What are you training for? And now I want to talk to you about the mind, because the mind is another mystery. So my dear husband signs us up for our second race, to a race in Mallorca. And he just doesn't mention a small detail, that there's a mountain. And I have been training in front of Arkayan. There's a small hill. So I've been biking up that hill thinking, wow, I've got this. I'm so proud of myself. I have no clue what's happening in the race. And I get there, and I see this mountain. And that's the elevation, just for you to kind of, I need to bike this mountain up. And I'm like, there's no way I'm doing this. There is no, the going down is even scarier. So I say, okay, let's start. I start the race. I'm just at the beginning. My legs are burning. My mind is screaming, stop. And the only thing that I can think about is count to 10. So I start counting. And I didn't stop. I wasn't being brave. I was trying to quiet my mind. My mind was lying to me because I continued. And I realized, wow, I thought I was very rational. My mind is lying to me. It wasn't protecting me. It was actually limiting me because my physical ability could go further. And I discovered something that I call the imagination gap. And it's very important. It's the distance between what your mind says you're capable of and what you actually are capable of. And when you reach that limit and you feel, I am done, I cannot take another step, you just take this step and you realize, wow, there's another level. There's a side of me I never knew existed. And that's fantastic. So I've been talking a lot about pushing limits, and now I'm talking to you about when to stop. You don't stop because you're scared. You don't stop because you're pressured. You actually stop deliberately. You stop because your plan is telling you to stop. Any athlete knows that there are recovery weeks, and it's not because we're lazy, and it's not because we cannot train. It is the most important part of your plan. It's not the opposite of training, it's adaptation. So skip your recovery and you don't become better, you become injured. And this was the scariest block of them all. 2020, with COVID, I decided to step back. I stepped back from the company that I have been managing for many years, and I actually stopped everything I was doing. I decided I'm just taking a break. And people thought it's crazy, people thought it's extreme. And I was terrified of that space. I was terrified of losing my identity. But actually, in that space, new possibilities appeared. The possibilities, yeah. I started working with my daughters and high school students on social impact projects. We connected homes with clean water. We worked with cancer patients. We worked in juvenile centers. And I discovered a new world. That journey eventually led me to do my master's in social entrepreneurship at LSE. It was extremely fulfilling. And I realized the pause wasn't a step back. It was my most important training block. So sometimes I started realizing that I shouldn't be afraid of my intensity. It's not something to feel guilty about. It's not a problem that I'm not balanced all the time. It's just important to understand where you are directing this intensity. So, when I started triathlon, I thought race day was about a finish line. But then I realized that race day is about encountering your limits. It's an opportunity to surprise yourself, to discover a new version of you. And it's very important to understand what you're training for. What are your priorities? What is the thing that energizes you? And I started understanding that balance is not about equal distribution. Balance is knowing what deserves your intensity right now. Where, when, and how. So I started my journey refusing to run 5 minutes on a treadmill. That's true. I used to go to the gym and I used to skip the treadmill because I hated running. And I ended up running, I was 35, so I wasn't a runner when I was young. I ran, and then I ended up running 100 kilometers in the desert. I didn't get there by balance. I didn't get there by having the perfectly balanced day. I got there by having a very good training plan and counting to 10 many, many times. So today, I ask you to name your wall. That one thing that you think you don't have the capacity for. That one thing that you believe, you're kind of scared of it, but you're also excited when you think about it. Name that wall, hit the wall, and take one more step, and surprise yourself. I am Dina Ali, and I believe that pursuing your extremes is not the opposite of balance. It is how you discover it. Thank you.